Hello and welcome viewers. Let's dive right into the top stories this hour on Superfast 50. I'm Ankit Prasad. India has officially taken up the presidency of the Group of 20 Nations, with the presidency accepted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the G20 summit in Bali in Indonesia.
भारत अपनी G20 अध्यक्षता के दौरान इंडोनेशिया के सराहनीय इनिशिएटिव को आगे बढ़ाने का भरसक प्रयत्न करेगा। भारत के लिए यह अत्यंत शुभ संयोग है कि हम G20 की अध्यक्षता का दायित्व इस पवित्र द्वीप बाली में ग्रहण कर रहे हैं।
During his address while accepting the presidency, PM Modi stated how India's efforts wish to be geared towards making the G20 a global world driver.
आज मैं ये आश्वासन देना चाहता हूं कि भारत की G20 अध्यक्षता इंक्लूसिव, एम्बिशियस, डिसिसिव और एक्शन ओरिएंटेड होगी। एक्सेलेंसी, अगले एक साल में हमारा प्रयत्न रहेगा कि G20 नए विचारों की परिकल्पना के लिए और सामूहिक एक्शन को गति देने के लिए एक ग्लोबल प्राइम मूवर की तरह काम करे।
The Prime Minister further spoke about the relevance of the group amid the various social, economic and political challenges being faced by countries around the world in recent years.
भारत G20 का जिम्मा ऐसे समय ले रहा है जब विश्व जियोपॉलिटिकल तनावों, आर्थिक मंदी, खाद्यान्न और ऊर्जा की बढ़ी हुई कीमतों और महामारी के दीर्घकालीन दुष्प्रभावों से एक साथ जूझ रहा है। ऐसे समय विश्व G20 की तरफ आशा की नजर से देखता है।
The Prime Minister also spoke about the sustainable goals that shall be the theme for the G20, with policies such as the recently launched LIFE to promote sustainable and environmentally aware development being among them.
प्लेनेट के सुरक्षित भविष्य के लिए ट्रस्टीशिप का भाव ही समाधान है। इसमें लाइफ यानी लाइफस्टाइल फॉर एनवायरनमेंट अभियान एक बड़ा योगदान दे सकता है। इसका उद्देश्य सस्टेनेबल लाइफस्टाइल को एक जन आंदोलन बनाना है। एक्सेलेंसी, आज आवश्यकता है कि विकास के लाभ सर्वस्पर्शी और सर्वसमावेशी हो।
The Prime Minister further emphasized on the need for women-led development to be a priority in the agenda for the G20 as India takes the reins of the intergovernmental organization at the closing session of the Bali summit.
वैश्विक विकास महिलाओं की भागीदारी के बिना संभव नहीं है। हमें अपने G20 एजेंडा में वुमेन लेड डेवलपमेंट पर प्राथमिकता बनाए रखनी होगी।
Prime Minister Modi met French President Emmanuel Macron on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia once more, and the pair continued to show deepening bonhomie. The Prime Minister further held numerous bilateral meets with leaders of at least 7 countries as part of the summit. PM Modi and US President Joe Biden, while visiting a mangrove forest as part of the G20 summit in Bali, saluted each other as the leaders gathered in the forest for sapling plantations. The Ministry of External Affairs, while speaking about India's interactions at the G20 summit, stated that India played a key role in successful regulations, negotiation outcomes, and also stated that the PM's message on not an era for war resonated very deeply across all delegations and helped bridge gaps.
This is no time for war. और इस कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को रिजॉल्व करने के लिए डायलॉग एंड डिप्लोमेसी ही सबसे उचित माध्यम है। उस मैसेज का G20 समिट के आउटकम डॉक्यूमेंट के नेगोशिएशंस में एक कंसेंसस बिल्ड करने में एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका रही.
Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra further informed that PM Modi met China's President Xi Jinping and exchanged curtsies with him at the G20 dinner that we witnessed yesterday. Prime Minister Modi also virtually addressed the Bengaluru Tech Summit, with the Prime Minister stating how technology had become a weapon to combat poverty in the country.
India is using technology as a weapon in the war against poverty. Under Swamitva scheme, we are using drones to map lands in rural areas. Then property cards are given to the people. This reduces land disputes.
A 4-year-old child died after being hit by Trinamool MP Abu Tahir Khan's car in Murshidabad district in West Bengal. According to sources, the TMC MP was inside the car when the child was run over, and the child suffered severe head injuries that eventually proved fatal. Sources in the Delhi police stated that AAFTAB has not shown remorse about Shraddha's murder, further raising speculations that the crime may have been planned. Sources also stated that investigations are underway over who visited the scene of the crime, along with particular kinds of literature found at the crime scene. At least 10 pieces of bone have been recovered amid the investigation in Shraddha's murder, with the police also having found blood stains in the kitchen of the house. The Delhi police has taken DNA samples of Shraddha's father Vikas Walkar so that the dumped body parts and blood samples can be matched. The Delhi police is expected to question a common friend of Shraddha and AAFTAB in connection with the case, and is also expected to hold an important meeting in connection with the investigation. The Delhi police is planning to conduct a psycho-assessment test on AAFTAB Poonawalla, even as more details and gory details continue to emerge on Shraddha's murder and dismemberment. Uttar Pradesh's Parliamentary Affairs Minister Suresh Khanna said that the winter session of the Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly will begin from December the 5th. He added that during this, proceedings will be held in both houses and the session will last for 3 days. The CBI court at Rouse Avenue in New Delhi has deferred for tomorrow the pronouncement of the order on the bail petition of Delhi Minister Satyendra Jain in the money laundering case. According to Special CBI Judge Vikas Dhuli, the order copy was not ready for the accused and he will pass the order by 2 p.m. tomorrow. Delhi's Anti-Corruption Bureau has arrested the brother-in-law of an Aam Aadmi Party MLA, Akhilesh Pati Tripathi, from Delhi's model town, along with his associates, in connection with a bribe demanded for a ticket for the MCD elections given to the complainant's wife. The complainant, in connection with the bribe for the MCD poll, stated that Akhilesh Pati Tripathi himself allegedly demanded a bribe of 90 lakh rupees for the ticket. At least 35 lakh rupees are reported to have been paid to Akhilesh Tripathi and at least 20 lakh rupees to another Aam Aadmi Party MLA from Wazirpur at the insistence of the model town Aam Aadmi Party MLA. The Border Roads Organization, the BRO, is expected to complete the work on the strategic road to Lippu Lake near the China border for Kailash Mansarovar Yatra by 2024. According to the Indian Army's Engineer-in-Chief, Lieutenant General Harpal Singh, the road will allow pilgrims to use vehicles right up to the last point of India. At least 4 terror associates linked to the TRF have been arrested by the Srinagar police. The associates are said to have been involved in grenade attacks in Srinagar and are suspected to have provided support to terrorists of the TRF in the valley. Days after the blast on the railway bridge near Udaipur, at least 186 kilos of gelatin sticks have been recovered in the water under the river at the Bharabana bridge in Dungapur in Rajasthan. The police are investigating the matter as a connection to the Udaipur blast is yet to surface. A bomb hoax at the old city area of Hyderabad led to panic among the residents, with the bomb threat reported at the Mandir Masjid at the IS Sadan in the city. The threat was declared as a hoax, however, following police searches. Aam Aadmi Party candidate from Surat, east of Gujarat, Kanchan Jariwala, took back his nomination for the Gujarat polls, while the AAP alleged that he had been kidnapped. He has, however, refuted this claim. In a gory crime in Kalburgi, Karnataka, BJP leader Mallikarjun Muthyala was killed and his body mutilated. A major protest broke out following the death, with demands for action in the case. Large crowds at the Dandrua Dham in Madhya Pradesh are believed to have been one of the factors that led to the death of a woman and several being injured at a temple there. The administrative inefficiency is further being alleged as the Dham, where a religious function is currently being held. The CBI court has extended the judicial custody of former Maharashtra Minister Anil Deshmukh for 14 days in connection with the corruption case against him. Gujarat Chief Minister and BJP leader Bhupendra Patel filed his nomination for the upcoming Gujarat Assembly elections, with Union Home Minister Amit Shah present at the nomination filing. Shah had earlier said that Bhupendra Patel would continue to be CM if the BJP wins in Gujarat. The Indian Navy participated in the Malabar exercise 2022 in the seas off Japan. According to sources, 11 surface ships, including a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, 4 long-range maritime patrol aircraft, integral helicopters and 2 submarines participated in the high-tempo war games off the coast of Japan. The Russian Defense Ministry released a statement denying responsibility for the missiles that hit Poland, further calling such statements by the Polish media officials a deliberate provocation aimed at escalating the situation. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky called the missile attacks in Poland a significant escalation owing to Poland being a NATO nation. The Ukrainian president further announced Ukraine's support for Poland, saying that Ukraine was aware that the violence would not be limited to the country's borders, as was the case with Moldova. Members of the G20 leading economies ended their summit in Indonesia with a declaration of firm condemnation of the war in Ukraine and a warning that the conflict making an already delicate world economy situation even worse. Indonesian President Joko Widodo said that that portion of the declaration dealt with war was the most contentious.
First, I regret the incident in Poland. I call all parties to remain calm and refrain from escalating tension.
EU climate chief Frans Timmermans expressed full solidarity with Poland and said that they were still establishing the facts about the missile that fell in the NATO member nation, killing 2 people. Frans Timmermans further said that the bloc stands beside Poland, which is also an EU member.
First,
well, you know, the most important message we have to give now is that we are in full solidarity with Poland and the Polish people. They are an important part of NATO and of the European Union, and we stand as one in this. And I hope we can get clarity of what actually happened very soon.
French President Emmanuel Macron, during a news conference in Bali where he was attending the G20 summit, urged caution on speculating about the circumstances of the missile blast in Poland, saying it was too early to know precisely what happened. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan also said that he would respect a statement by Russia which denied being behind any strikes on targets near the Ukrainian-Poland border. He added during a news conference on the sidelines of the G20 summit that Russia has said that it has nothing to do with this. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stressed the importance of waiting for the results of the investigation after Poland said that a Russian-made missile fell in the country's east, killing 2 people. He made these remarks after US President Joe Biden called an emergency meeting of the G7 and NATO leaders. An oil tanker associated with an Israeli billionaire has been struck by a bomb-carrying drone off the coast of Oman amid heightened tensions with Iran. According to officials, the attack on the Liberian-flagged oil tanker Pacific Zircon happened on Tuesday night off the coast of Oman. Former US President Donald Trump has announced his plans to run for president once again in the 2024 US elections, with the campaign being his third for the position.
The American dream, and it's a word you don't use, 2 words. I don't want to be Joe. It's 2 words, American dream. That was not good what he did. There are a lot of bad things, like going to Idaho and saying, welcome to the state of Florida. I really love it. In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Hitting out at the current US President Joe Biden as he announced his candidacy, Donald Trump said that the US administration's economic policies had ruined the economy of the United States of America.
Complicated a little bit is what's happened to so many other things. I believe originally started by this energy disaster. We were $1.87 a gallon for gasoline, and now it's hitting $5, $6, $7, and even $8, and it's going to go really bad. The socialist disaster known as the Green New Deal, which is destroying our country, and the many crippling regulations that it has spawned, will be immediately terminated so that our country can again breathe and grow and thrive like it should.
In boxing, the reigning Asian youth champion Vishwanath Suresh opened India's campaign on a winning note at the IBA Youth Men's and Women's World Boxing Championships 2022 after clinching a thrilling opening round win against Ireland's Patsy Joyce Thady by a split 3-2 decision. In football, England's World Cup squad landed in Qatar with less than a week to go until the Three Lions opening match of the tournament against Iran. Manager Gareth Southgate and his players flew into Doha on a plane called the Rainbow, the name celebrating LGBTQ+ rights in a country where homosexuality is against the law. Brazil's World Cup squad trained in Turin 9 days ahead of their opening fixture in Group G, as Brazil's team is to face Serbia, followed by Switzerland and Cameroon, and are favourites to win the cup, though not by much ahead of Argentina and France. The Danish squad also arrived in Qatar ahead of the World Cup. Kasper Hujimland's men were hugely impressive in qualifying for the tournament, winning their first 9 games on the way to topping Group F. France are likely to provide their stiffest challenge in the group. Tunisia and Australia are also in the quartet. Following a training session at their base in Madrid on Tuesday, the Spanish national football team left the country ahead of the World Cup. La Furia Roja will travel to Qatar via Jordan, where they will play a warm-up match before kicking off their campaign against Costa Rica, before a mouth-watering meeting with Germany and a final match against Japan. Senegal forward and 2-time African Player of the Year Sadio Mane will miss his team's first games at the World Cup because of an injury to the head of his fibula bone in his lower right leg. The team's first match in Qatar is against the Netherlands. Germany's World Cup squad trained on Tuesday in Muscat, where Hansi Flick's side will take on Oman in a warm-up match on Wednesday before heading to Qatar. Die Mannschaft will be aiming for World Cup redemption after crashing out in 2018 as defending champions in the group stage. Hansi Flick's side will begin their campaign with a game against Japan before facing Spain and then Costa Rica. Leading American players had a fun kickabout with a few of the migrant workers at the Al Gharafa training ground in Doha, as Qatar continues to face heavy criticism from human rights watchers for the death of many migrant workers during the construction of all the stadiums there for the World Cup. CJ McCollum scored 14 of his 30 points in the third quarter, and the New Orleans Pelicans overcame La Morant's 36 points to beat the Memphis Grizzlies 113-102 in the NBA. And Casper Ruud qualified for the semi-finals of the ATP Finals in Turin with a victory over Taylor Fritz. Ruud's win over Fritz sealed Rafael Nadal's exit from the competition.